When Ice Meets Steel. Chapter 1. The Challenge Run. Part 1. The Ice Scholar's Inconsistent Excellence. The alarm went off at 5 a.m., and Harmony hit snooze for the fourth time that week. This is fine. This is totally fine. I'll just skip the morning workout. Again. By 7:30 a.m., she was scrambling through her apartment, a small but cozy one-bedroom that somehow looked both meticulously organized and chaotically lived in at the same time. Her research notes were filed perfectly by date. Her gaming setup had 3 monitors and cable management that would make tech enthusiasts weep with joy. Her kitchen had a meal prep container system labeled by day and macros. The meal prep containers were empty. Week 3 of the new improved Harmony initiative. Status: questionable. She grabbed a protein bar, breakfast of champions who've given up, threw on her usual outfit, comfortable jeans, a hoodie with "Trust Me, I'm a Scientist" printed on it, and her favorite worn-in sneakers, and rushed out the door. Harmony Chin worked as a research assistant at Glacier Point University, specifically in the Department of Biomechanics and Human Performance. It wasn't glamorous. It wasn't what she'd imagined when she graduated with honors in exercise science. But it paid the bills, let her work on interesting projects, and most importantly, kept her close to her best friend Dakota. Speaking of whom, her phone buzzed. Dakota, morning sunshine sun. Dakota, you skipped the gym again, didn't you? Dakota, I can sense these things. Dakota, also I made you a sandwich, it's in the lab fridge. Dakota, you're welcome, I'm the best friend ever. Harmony smiled despite herself, typing back quickly as she speedwalked to the bus stop. Harmony, you're the best. Harmony, and I didn't skip, I just postponed. Harmony, indefinitely. Harmony, look, I'll start again Monday. Dakota, you said that last Monday. Dakota, and the Monday before that. Dakota, babe, I say this with love. Dakota, you are really good at starting things. Dakota, and really bad at continuing them. Harmony winced because Dakota was right. Dakota was always right, which was both her best and most annoying quality. The thing was, Harmony loved the idea of self-improvement. She'd watch YouTube videos about morning routines and feel so inspired she'd immediately create a color-coded schedule. She'd read articles about discipline and make detailed plans. She'd buy the workout equipment, prep the meals, download the apps. And then, day 3 would hit. Or day 5. Or sometimes, if she was really on a roll, day 9. And she'd just stop. Not because she didn't care. Not because she didn't want it. But because the initial excitement would fade, and then it was just work, and her brain would say, hey, you know what's more fun than this? Literally anything else. Like gaming. Gaming, she was consistent with. Gaming, she showed up for. Gaming, she'd stay up until 3 a.m. perfecting a challenge run even though she had work at 8 a.m. Why can't I bring that energy to literally any other part of my life? The bus arrived, and Harmony climbed on, finding a seat near the back. She pulled out her phone and opened her current obsession, a brutal roguelike game where every mistake meant starting completely over. She'd died 47 times. She was going for 48. Just one more run before work, she told herself, fingers already moving across the screen with practiced precision. By the time Harmony reached the lab, she was in a significantly better mood. She'd made it to level 8 this time, a personal record, and Dakota was waiting with coffee and that promised sandwich. Dakota Park was everything Harmony was not: tall, effortlessly put together, naturally athletic, and currently nursing a broken heart that was slowly, painfully healing. You're late, Dakota said, but she was smiling. I'm consistent about being inconsistent, Harmony replied, accepting the coffee gratefully. It's basically my brand at this point. How's the challenge run going? Terribly. I love it. And the actual challenge of taking care of yourself? Also terribly. I'm less enthusiastic about it. Dakota laughed, but there was something sad in it. She'd been doing that a lot lately, laughing with shadows in her eyes. It had been 3 months since the breakup. 3 months since Dakota had been caught between 2 people she loved, forced to choose, and ended up losing both. 3 months of watching her best friend slowly piece herself back together. Harmony had watched the whole thing unfold with a strange, analytical detachment that she both appreciated and hated about herself. While Dakota was sobbing, Harmony's brain was running equations. If person A loved person B, and person B loved person A and person C, and person C loved person B, why did anyone have to lose? Why was it structured as a competition instead of a collaboration? She'd gone down a research rabbit hole after that. Polyamory, relationship anarchy, ethical non-monogamy. All these frameworks that suggested maybe, just maybe, love didn't have to be a zero-sum game. The problem was, Harmony had exactly zero practical experience with any kind of romantic relationship. She could theorize all day about the logical efficiency of polyamorous structures. She could explain the psychology, the communication frameworks, the boundary-setting techniques. But actual dating? Actual vulnerability? Actual risk? Terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. Earth to Harmony, Dakota waved a hand in front of her face. You're doing the thing where you stare into space, and I can practically see the gears turning. Sorry, Harmony blinked back to reality. Just thinking. About? Consistency. And why I'm so bad at it. You're not bad at everything, Dakota pointed out. You show up for work every day. You show up for me. You've been playing that masochistic game for like 6 months straight. Yeah, but that's different. How? Harmony paused, trying to articulate something she'd never quite put into words. Gaming has immediate feedback. I die, I learn, I try again, I see progress, even if it's slow. But real life? Self-improvement? It's all delayed gratification. Work out today, maybe see results in 3 months. Meal prep today, maybe feel better eventually. It's like, I need to see the numbers going up, you know? I need the progress bar. So you're saying you need to gamify your life? Maybe? Harmony laughed. God, that sounds ridiculous when you say it out loud. No, actually, Dakota said thoughtfully, that's kind of genius. You're really good at figuring out systems in games. What if you applied that same energy to real life? I've tried. I make spreadsheets. I track everything. But then I just stop looking at the spreadsheets. Because spreadsheets aren't fun. Exactly. They fell into comfortable silence, working side by side on their respective projects. Dakota was analyzing motion capture data from volleyball players. Harmony was supposed to be reviewing literature for an upcoming study on sword fighting biomechanics, but she kept getting distracted by her phone. One more run. Just one more. Part 2. The Ghost Blade's Secret Joy. Across the city, in a minimalist apartment that looked like it belonged to someone who'd read exactly one book on interior design. That book was titled, White, Black, and Nothing Else. Avis was doing something that would shatter her entire public image. She was sweeping and narrating. Crescent Moon Sweep, she announced to absolutely no one, executing a perfect arc with her broom. Dust severance technique. The broom moved with the same lethal grace as her sword. Because to Aois, they were basically the same thing, tools for creating order, weapons against chaos. She'd been awake since 4 a.m., actually awake, not hitting snooze. 2 hours of sword practice. 1 hour of meditation. 30 minutes of cooking a balanced breakfast. Now, the sacred ritual of cleaning. Most people would call her disciplined. Aois called it survival. When you spent your childhood training under a master who believed idle hands invited demons, you learned to find purpose in every action. Sweeping wasn't a chore, it was moving meditation. Cooking wasn't a task, it was alchemy. Even folding laundry became a study in precision and patience. The sword had taught her everything: focus, control, the beauty of repetition, the power of small, consistent actions building toward mastery. It had also, unfortunately, taught her that most people were exhausting. Aois moved through her apartment with practiced efficiency, dust falling before her like enemies on a battlefield. Her space was exactly as she liked it. Clean lines, no clutter, everything in its place. White walls, black furniture, a single shelf of perfectly arranged books, all about swordsmanship, philosophy, or the occasional mystery novel when she felt wild. Her sword, Hakuryu, White Dragon, rested in its stand by the window, catching the morning light. She'd won her first tournament at 16. By 20, she was ranked in the top 10 nationally. By 23, she was #1 in the world. Now, at 26, she was a ghost. She competed because the tournaments were mandatory to keep her ranking. She won because losing felt like breaking a promise to her master. May he rest in peace, the demanding bastard. But everything else, interviews, sponsorships, social media, public appearances, she avoided like someone had gamified how to be a hermit, and she was going for 100% completion. The rumors were endless and hilarious. She's horribly scarred and hiding her face. She's a criminal in witness protection. She's secretly royalty and can't reveal her identity. She's cursed and everyone she talks to dies. She's just really, really stuck up. The truth was both simpler and stupider. Ais just really liked being alone. People were complicated. They wanted things attention, validation, entertainment. They asked questions she didn't know how to answer. They looked at her and saw the ghost blade, this mysterious figure, this untouchable champion. They didn't see the woman who practiced victory poses in the mirror because they looked cool. The woman who named her sword techniques after weather phenomena because it sounded dramatic. The woman who sometimes narrated her daily life like she was the protagonist in an anime. Breakfast Preparation Arc, Episode 3, The Toast That Would Not Brown. She tried once to be social. After her first major win, her former management team had pushed her into the spotlight. Interviews, photo shoots, meet and greets. She'd smiled politely, answered questions in as few words as possible, and felt like she was suffocating the entire time. After 3 months, she'd fired them all and hired a single lawyer whose only job was to handle the minimum required publicity and keep everyone else away from her. Best decision of her life. Now her days were beautifully, perfectly routine. 4 a.m., wake, meditate. 6 a.m., sword practice. 8 a.m., breakfast, cleaning. 10 a.m., secondary training, strength, flexibility, cardio. 12 p.m., lunch, reading. 2 p.m., technical practice, specific techniques, problem solving. 5 p.m., dinner prep and cooking. 7 p.m., free time, usually more practice or watching terrible reality TV because the drama was fascinating. 9 p.m., evening meditation, sleep prep. 10 p.m., sleep. Every day. No variation. Perfect. Except, lately, something had been feeling off. Not wrong, exactly. Just incomplete. She finished sweeping and moved to the kitchen, where her breakfast dishes were already washed and drying. Everything in its place. Everything perfect. And somehow slightly hollow. I'm becoming my master, she thought, not for the first time. Old, alone, content, but not quite happy. He died at 73, surrounded by swords and books, but no people. His funeral had been small, just Ais and 2 other former students who he'd barely kept in touch with. She'd stood there, looking at his empty house, and thought, is this what I'm building toward? But people were exhausting. Relationships were messy. Love was. Actually, she had no idea what love was. She'd never experienced it. Never even been on a date. Not because no one had asked. They had, despite her reputation. But because every time someone expressed interest, her brain would calculate the cost-benefit analysis. Potential benefits, companionship, emotional connection, physical affection, someone to talk to. Potential costs, time, energy, emotional vulnerability, disruption of routine, risk of heartbreak. The costs always seemed to outweigh the benefits. So she stayed alone, perfectly disciplined, perfectly controlled, perfectly. Lonely? No, not lonely. Just aware of the silence. Her phone buzzed, a rare occurrence. She checked it. Her lawyer. Samuel, you have a request. Samuel, research study. Glacier Point University. Biomechanics of sword technique. Samuel, they want to observe/interview you. Standard scientific protocol. Samuel, I can decline as usual or. Ais stared at the message. She declined everything. Always. That was the rule. But something made her pause. Biomechanics. Scientific research. That wasn't celebrity gossip or media exploitation. That was someone wanting to understand the technique, not the person. And maybe, just maybe, she was a little bit curious about what someone would discover. Also, she was so bored she'd started naming her houseplants. She only had one. It was called Gerald. Gerald the Fern. Oh yes, Details? Samuel, lead researcher, is a Harmony Chen. Early career, small lab, very professional reputation. Focused on elite athlete movement patterns. Specifically interested in sword work because of the precision/power balance. Samuel, she probably has no idea you'll actually say yes. Samuel, should I schedule a preliminary meeting? Avis looked around her perfect, empty apartment. At Hakuria gleaming in the sunlight. At Gerald the Fern, who was a great listener but terrible at conversation. What's the worst that could happen? Ao yes, yes. Ao yes, schedule it. Samuel. Samuel, I'm sorry. Did you just say yes? Samuel. To a publicity thing? Samuel, are you dying? Is this a bucket list situation? Ao yes, it's research, not publicity. Ao yes, I'm curious. Ao yes, and bored. Samuel, noted. I'll set it up. Samuel, for the record, this is the first time in 4 years you've agreed to anything. Samuel, I'm documenting this moment. Aois didn't respond. She was already second-guessing herself. But the decision was made. And once Aois made a decision, she followed through. It was, after all, the disciplined thing to do. Part 3. When worlds collide, sort of. Harmony was having the worst day. Not catastrophically bad. Just comprehensively annoying. She'd spilled coffee on her notes. Her favorite pen had died mid-sentence. The literature review she'd been working on for 2 weeks had a fatal flaw she'd somehow missed until today. And her game character had died right before the final boss in a way that was definitely bullshit and not at all her fault. By 3 p.m., she was ready to call it quits and go home to aggressively eat ice cream and play video games until her brain rebooted. Then Dakota burst into the lab looking like she'd witnessed a miracle. Harmony. What? Harmony. Yes, I'm here. Use your words. She said yes. Harmony blinked. Who said yes to what? Aois. The Ghost Blade. The literal most reclusive champion in the world. Oh, right. 2 months ago, Harmony had submitted a research proposal for a study on elite sword fighters, specifically looking at how they generated power while maintaining control. It was a biomechanics nerd's dream project. She'd sent interview requests to 15 top-ranked fighters. 12 had agreed immediately. Publicity was good for their careers. 2 had politely declined, scheduling conflicts. And Aois, the #1 ranked fighter in the world, hadn't responded at all. Which was expected. The Ghost Blade didn't do interviews. Ever. It was like asking Bigfoot to participate in a nature documentary. Wait, Harmony said slowly. Aois said yes? To my research request? Your research request, Dakota confirmed, practically vibrating with excitement. Harmony, do you understand what this means? She never says yes to anything. People have offered her millions for interviews. Netflix wanted to do a documentary. She said no to Netflix. Maybe she really likes science? Or maybe, Dakota said with a knowing grin, fate is intervening. Dakota, I swear, if you start with the fate thing again. You don't believe in fate, I know. You believe in data and probability and boring science stuff. Science is not boring. But consider, Dakota continued, ignoring her, that maybe the universe is trying to tell you something. You've been stuck in your self-improvement doom loop for months. You literally told me last week that you need something to shake up your routine. And now the most disciplined, most mysterious, most gorgeous woman in the sword-fighting world just agreed to let you study her. I'm studying her technique, not her. Same thing, except you get to watch her move for hours, it's basically. Do not finish that sentence. Dakota's grin went absolutely feral. I'm just saying, this could be really good for you. Professionally. And, maybe, personally. I'm not trying to date the Ghost Blade, Dakota, I'm trying to conduct legitimate research. Sure, very professional. I am professional. You're blushing. I'm not. Harmony caught sight of herself in the reflection of her computer screen. She was, in fact, blushing. Shut up, she muttered. Dakota just laughed. Meeting is scheduled for Monday, 10 a.m., at her private training facility. She's requested it be just you, no assistants, no cameras, preliminary discussion only. That's reasonable. For someone who values privacy. That's intimate, for someone who never agrees to anything. You're reading into this. And you're in denial. It's cute. Anyway, Dakota handed her a folder, Here's everything I could find about her. Which isn't much, because again, ghost. But you should probably prepare. Harmony took the folder, trying to ignore the weird flutter in her stomach that was definitely just nervousness about the research opportunity and absolutely nothing else. Thanks, Dakota. Anytime, bestie. Now go home, prep your questions, and try not to freak out about the fact that you're going to meet the most mysterious woman in modern sport. I'm not freaking out. Sure you're not. Harmony grabbed her stuff and headed home, folder clutched to her chest, mind already racing with possibilities. That night, Harmony did what she always did when faced with something important. She researched obsessively. She pulled up every video she could find of Aoi's fighting. And there weren't many, just tournament footage, mostly silent except for commentator reactions. But God, she was incredible. Aoi's moved like water, fluid, precise, devastating. Every strike was economical, no wasted movement, no excessive flourish. Just perfect technique executed with inhuman consistency. She was tall, Harmony had known that intellectually, but seeing her tower over opponents was different. White hair pulled back in a practical ponytail, face focused, purple-blue eyes tracking every movement of her opponent with predatory clarity. She won every match in under 3 minutes. And then she'd bow, leave the ring, and disappear before anyone could approach her. Harmony watched one tournament final where Aoi's had disarmed her opponent so quickly the commentators had to replay it 3 times to understand what happened. It's like she knows what they're going to do before they do it, one commentator said. She's not reading their moves, another replied. She's reading their intent. Watch her eyes, she's tracking their center mass, their breathing, their weight distribution. By the time they commit to an attack, she's already countered. Harmony rewound the footage, watched again. They were right. Aoi's wasn't reacting to attacks, she was predicting them. It was almost mathematical in its precision. I wonder if she thinks in probabilities, Harmony thought. Attack from left, 70% likely. Counter with high guard, 85% success rate. Disarm, 60% optimal. Her brain did that, saw patterns, calculated outcomes, tried to optimize for success. She wondered if Aoi's brain did the same thing. She wondered what it would be like to study someone who'd turned discipline into an art form. She wondered, and immediately felt ridiculous for wondering, what Aoi's was like when she wasn't performing. When she was just a person. Did she laugh? Did she have hobbies beyond the sword? Did she ever get tired of being perfect? Harmony closed her laptop, stared at the ceiling, and tried to calm her racing thoughts. It's just research. Professional research. You're going to ask questions about biomechanics and movement efficiency and technique. That's it. Nothing weird. Nothing personal. Just try not to make an idiot of yourself. She set an alarm for 5 a.m. She was going to work out before this meeting. She was going to be disciplined for once, and fell asleep with her mind full of white hair and purple-blue eyes and sword techniques that looked like poetry. Part 4, the night before. Saturday, 11:47 p.m. Harmony was still awake, gaming, because of course she was. One more run. Just one more. Her character died spectacularly. Bullshit. Complete bullshit. The hitbox on that attack was broken, and she groaned, setting down her controller. Her phone buzzed. Dakota, you better be asleep. Dakota, you have a big day Monday. Dakota, need to be well rested. Dakota, and not doing a challenge run until 3 a.m. Harmony winced. Harmony, it's not 3 a.m. yet. Harmony, I have time. Dakota, Harmony Chen. Dakota, I love you. Dakota, but you are a disaster. Dakota, go to bed. Harmony, fine, I'm. Harmony, going to bed now. Harmony, probably. Dakota, I will come over there. Dakota, I will unplug your console. Dakota, don't test me. Harmony laughed, but she did turn off her game. She brushed her teeth, changed into pajamas, an oversized gaming tournament shirt from 2019, and climbed into bed. But sleep didn't come. Her mind was racing, not with anxiety exactly, but with that fizzy anticipation that came before something important. Like standing at the start line of a race, or loading into a boss fight you've been preparing for. Monday. I meet the Ghost Blade. I get to ask her about sword technique and biomechanics and movement patterns and maybe, just maybe, Figure out what someone looks like when they've mastered the thing Harmony couldn't figure out: consistency. What did discipline look like from the inside? Was it a constant fight, or did it become easy? Did Ace ever want to quit? Did she ever hit snooze? I wonder if she's ever failed at anything. The thought sat heavy in her chest. Harmony was used to being good at things when she actually tried. School had come easy. Research came naturally. Gaming was intuitive. But sustaining effort? Being consistent? That's where she always failed. She'd start strong, burn out, give up. Start again, burn out, give up. The cycle was exhausting. Maybe talking to someone who'd figured it out would help. Or maybe she'd just feel even worse about her own inconsistency. Guess I'll find out Monday. She rolled over, closed her eyes, and tried to sleep. Across the city, Ace was also awake, but she'd been awake since 4 a.m. and was now winding down her day with her evening meditation. She sat cross-legged on her floor, Hakoria resting across her knees, breathing slowly and evenly. Inhale, exhale, clear the mind, return to center. But her mind kept drifting to Monday. The researcher, Harmony Chin. Ace had looked her up, of course. Professional curiosity. Young, early in her career, but published in some respectable journals. Specialized in elite athlete biomechanics. Photos showed a friendly-looking woman with blonde hair tipped in icy blue, bright eyes, a warm smile. She looked nice, which was, oddly, more intimidating than if she'd looked cold and professional. Ace could handle cold and professional. That was a transaction. Information for data, clear boundaries, minimal emotional engagement. But nice? Nice meant expectations. Nice meant small talk. Nice meant potentially having to be personable. Why did I agree to this? Because she was bored. Because she was curious. Because something about the silence in her apartment had started feeling less like peace and more like loneliness. Because maybe, just maybe, she was tired of being the ghost blade and wanted to be someone. Anyone. Even just for a few hours. Inhale. Exhale. Monday is just another challenge. Approach it like a fight. Observe, assess, adapt. She finished her meditation, stood, returned Hakoria to its stand, and moved through her nighttime routine with practiced precision. By 10 p.m., she was in bed, eyes closed, body relaxed. But her mind was still thinking about Monday. About a researcher with ice blue hair tips who wanted to understand the mechanics of the sword. About what it might be like to let someone into her world, just a little bit. About whether she'd remember how to have a conversation with someone who didn't immediately want something from her. It's just research, she told herself. Nothing personal. Nothing complicated. Just try not to scare her away. She fell asleep thinking about white floors and bright lights and the unfamiliar feeling of anticipation. Part 5, Sunday, the preparation disaster. Sunday morning, Harmony woke up at 9:30 a.m. She'd slept through her alarm. Again. Perfect start to the being disciplined plan. She groaned, rolled out of bed, and immediately tripped over her controller. Oh. Fuck. Okay. New plan. Survive Sunday, prepare for Monday, don't spiral. She made coffee instant because the coffee maker was buried under a pile of research papers, opened her laptop, and started prepping questions for tomorrow's meeting. But her brain kept drifting. What if she thinks I'm unprofessional? What if I ask a stupid question? What if she's intimidating and I freeze up? What if? Her phone rang. Dakota. Hello. How's the spiral going? I'm not spiraling. You're absolutely spiraling. I can hear it in your voice. Harmony sighed. Okay, maybe a little. But it's fine. I'm fine. You're going to be great, Dakota said firmly. You're brilliant, you know your stuff, and she agreed to meet with you. That means she's already interested in what you have to say. Or she was bored. Or, Dakota continued, she saw your research proposal and thought, wow, this person actually understands what I do. This isn't just celebrity gossip bullshit. Give yourself some credit. I'll try. Good. Now go prepare, eat something that isn't a protein bar, and please get some sleep tonight. I will, I promise. Love you, disaster. Love you too. Harmony hung up, stared at her laptop, and tried to focus. She spent the rest of Sunday alternating between writing questions, productive. Rewriting questions because they sounded too casual, less productive. Googling how to interview a reclusive champion, not productive. Playing one quick game to clear her head, definitely not productive. Also, it turned into 5 games. Having a minor crisis about what to wear, combat boots? Too try hard. Heels? Can't walk in them. Sneakers? Too casual. More sneakers but nicer? Perfect. By 8 p.m., she had a solid list of questions. An outfit selected, professional but comfortable. Nice jeans, button-up shirt, her favorite sneakers, light jacket. A minor stress headache. Zero confidence, but maximum determination. Tomorrow. Tomorrow I meet the Ghost Blade. Tomorrow everything changes. Or nothing changes, and it's just a normal research interview, and I'm being dramatic. Probably that second thing. But maybe the first. She set her alarm for 6 a.m. She was going to wake up early this time, laid out her clothes, triple-checked her questions, and went to bed. Eloise spent Sunday exactly as she spent every Sunday, training, cleaning, reading, meditating. But she found herself distracted in ways she wasn't used to. During morning practice, she caught herself wondering if the researcher would understand the subtlety of certain techniques. During lunch, she caught herself planning what she'd say, which was ridiculous, because she didn't plan conversations. She barely had conversations. During evening meditation, she caught herself nervous? No, not nervous. Anticipatory. There was a difference. Tomorrow is just another challenge. I've faced opponents with decades more experience. I've fought in front of thousands of people. I've won championships. One researcher asking questions is nothing. So why does it feel like something? She didn't have an answer. But she prepared anyway, reviewing her own technique in her mind, thinking about how to articulate things she'd never had to explain, wondering if words could capture what the sword had taught her. By the time Monday morning arrived, she was ready. Or as ready as someone could be when they were about to let a stranger into their carefully controlled world. End of Chapter 1. Author's notes. When Ice Meets Steel. Chapter 1. The challenge runs Sapphic slow burn romance. This chapter establishes both characters in their natural habitats before they collide. Harmony. Relatable struggle with consistency. She's us, we're her. Gaming as her consistent passion versus self-improvement as her inconsistent goal. Best friend Dakota as her anchor and mirror. Dakota's heartbreak informs Harmony's polyam curiosity. Professional competence masking personal chaos. Nervous, but curious about meeting Eloise. Eloise. Disciplined to the point of isolation. Secret dorkiness. Attack names. Talking to her fern. Narrating her life. Lonely, but doesn't fully recognize it yet. Saying yes for the first time in years. Significant character moment. Anticipation disguised as professional curiosity. What this chapter delivers. Strong character establishment without info dumping. Natural humor. Harmony's gaming addiction. Eloise's secret dramatic narration.